Welcome to English Conversation Café. Learn English through natural conversations.
So, I want to start today a little differently.
Okay, now I'm a little nervous.
Don't be nervous. I got a message last week from one of our listeners, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it.
What did it say?
She said, and she wrote, I have been studying English for 2 years. I practice almost every day. But when I try to speak, I freeze. I forget everything. I feel so stupid. I think I'm just not smart enough for this. I'm giving up.
Oh,
Yeah,
that hit me.
me too.
Because she is not stupid. 2 years, almost every day. That is not someone who's failing. That is someone who is so close, and she doesn't even know it.
And the worst part is, she's not alone. We get messages like this all the time.
Which means a lot of people are feeling exactly this way right now, and not saying it out loud.
So today, we say it out loud, together.
Welcome to English Conversation Café. I'm Haley.
And I'm Max. This is the show where two friends talk about real life in real English, so you can learn naturally just by listening.
And today's episode is one we genuinely care about. We're talking about that moment when you feel like giving up on your English journey.
By the end of today, you're going to understand exactly why that feeling happens. And spoiler alert, it's not because you're bad at English.
We'll also give you 3 real, practical things you can do the next time that feeling shows up. Things that actually work.
So if you're new here, welcome. You found a good place. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single episode.
And if you've been with us for a while, you already know this is a safe space. No judgment, no pressure, just real conversation.
All right, let's talk. So Haley, I want to ask you something. Have you ever been working toward a goal, something you really wanted, and you just hit a wall?
Oh, absolutely. So, I started learning Spanish a few months ago.
Oh yeah? How's that going?
It started so well. First 2 weeks, I was obsessed, learning new words every single day. I felt amazing. I actually thought, I'm basically fluent already.
You were not.
I was not, but it felt that way. And then around week 3, boom, I hit a wall.
What happened?
Nothing was sticking anymore. Words I had already learned, gone. I was making the same mistakes over and over. And I started thinking, am I actually getting worse?
And what did that feel like?
Honestly, like I wanted to quit. Like, maybe I'm just not a language person. Which is kind of ironic given what we do for a living.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Just a little.
But here's the thing. That wall you hit, that feeling, it has a name.
It does?
It's called the intermediate plateau. And it happens to almost every language learner at some point.
So it's not just me being bad at Spanish.
It is absolutely not you being bad at Spanish. The plateau is actually a sign that you've moved past the beginner stage.
Oh, that is so much better to hear.
In the beginning, every new word feels like a huge win. You go from knowing nothing to knowing something really fast. The progress is very visible.
Right. You learn hello, thank you, where is the bathroom?
The essentials.
The essentials. And you feel like a complete genius.
But then your brain starts building something deeper. Grammar structure, natural rhythm, how words connect to each other. And that work is slower. You can't always see it happening.
So you feel stuck, but you're actually growing?
Exactly. I like to think of it like an iceberg.
Okay, I love an analogy. Tell me.
The progress you can see, new words, new phrases, conversations that go well, that's the top of the iceberg. Small, visible.
Mm-hmm.
But underneath the surface, there's this huge invisible structure being built. Your brain is connecting sounds, patterns, rhythms. You can't see it, but it is happening.
Invisible progress is still progress.
100%. And the problem is, most people give up right when that invisible progress is happening the most.
Like our listener.
Like our listener. Exactly.
And I think that's the most heartbreaking part. You're working so hard, and you can't see the results yet. So you think the work isn't doing anything.
But it is. The results are coming. They just take a little longer than you expect.
Which is why we're here. Okay, so let's dig into this. Why do people actually give up? Because I don't think it's just the plateau.
You're right. There are a few different traps that work against you at the same time.
The first one, and I did this myself with Spanish, is what I call all or nothing thinking.
What does that look like in practice?
So you miss one day of studying, just one day, and instead of thinking, okay, I'll get back to it tomorrow,
You think,
you think, I've ruined everything. I'm the worst. I may as well give up entirely.
that is so familiar.
Right? One missed day becomes the end of the whole journey. All or nothing. No middle ground allowed.
And the thing is, one missed day does not erase 2 months of hard work. It just doesn't.
But your brain completely convinces you it does.
Because when you fall off track, it feels much bigger than it actually is. The guilt makes it feel enormous.
And getting back on track, even after a whole week away, is so much easier than starting from zero. Your brain still has everything you learned. It's all still in there.
It's like riding a bike. You might wobble a little when you first get back on, but you don't forget how to ride.
I love that. Okay, what's the second trap?
Comparison. Looking at someone else's progress and using it as evidence that you're failing.
Oh, this one is painful.
You see someone online who says, I learned conversational English in 6 months. And immediately you think, I've been studying for a year and I still struggle. Something must be wrong with me.
But you don't know their full story.
Exactly. Maybe they grew up in a bilingual home. Maybe they lived in an English-speaking country for years. Maybe they had a private tutor every single day.
You're comparing your chapter 1 to their chapter 20.
Perfectly said. Your journey is yours. It's going to look different from everyone else's.
And honestly, when you spend all your energy measuring yourself against other people, you become your own worst enemy. The negative voice in your head gets louder and louder.
And that inner voice, the one that says, why can't you just get this already? You need to give yourself a break. That voice is not telling the truth.
We're about to prove that, because I think the next part of today's show is my absolute favorite thing we've ever done.
Big statement.
Big statement, but I stand by it. Okay, so Max had this idea, and it's a little uncomfortable, but in the best possible way.
That's a generous description.
We're going to do a role play. Max is going to play the inner critic, that negative voice that shows up in your head when you're learning.
I get to be the villain. I've always wanted to try this.
And I'm going to be the English learner. And we're going to show you, out loud, how to talk back to that voice.
Because here's the thing. That voice sounds very confident, very convincing, but it's almost always wrong.
And once you hear what it sounds like, and hear someone push back on it, you'll start to recognize it when it shows up in your own head.
Ready?
Let's go.
You've been studying English for 8 months. 8 months. And you still can't hold a normal conversation without freezing up.
8 months ago, I understood almost nothing. Now I understand most of what I hear. That's not failure. That's real progress.
But you make so many mistakes. People must think you sound strange.
Everyone makes mistakes in a second language. Even native speakers make mistakes in their own language all the time. Mistakes mean I'm speaking. That means I'm trying.
You're slower than everyone else. You should be further along by now.
Says who? There is no deadline. This is my journey, at my pace. I don't owe anyone a timeline.
You're never going to be fluent. You should just give up now and save yourself the time.
No, I've come too far for that, and I'm going to give myself a break, because I'm doing something genuinely hard, and I deserve a little kindness.
And scene.
That felt amazing,
It really did.
because that voice, we all have it, and usually we just accept what it says. We let it win without even arguing.
But when you actually respond to it, out loud or even just in your thoughts,
You realize how wrong it is. Every single argument falls apart immediately.
so next time that voice shows up, and it will, try answering it. Don't just sit there and listen to it.
You don't have to make it go away. Just don't let it have the last word.
That's the whole game. Okay, so we've talked about what goes wrong. Let's talk about what actually helps.
Yes, the good stuff. Finally!
Finally. The first thing, and this is my favorite, is to shrink the goal.
Shrink it how?
So instead of, I need to study English for 1 hour today, which sounds exhausting before you even open the book,
Before you even sit down, you're already tired.
just say, I'm going to listen to 5 minutes of English while I make my morning coffee. That's it.
Just 5 minutes?
Just 5 minutes. The point isn't perfection. The point is to keep the connection alive. Even a tiny action counts. Even a small win counts.
And honestly, a lot of the time, once you start the tiny thing, you end up doing more anyway, because you removed the pressure.
Exactly. When the goal feels too big, you avoid it entirely. Make it small enough that saying no feels almost silly.
It's like the hardest part is always just sitting down.
Always. Okay, number 2. And this one sounds simple, but it changes everything.
Tell me.
Notice your small wins and write them down.
Oh, this one is so important and so underrated.
Like, genuinely stop and notice. Today, I understood a full joke in English. I couldn't do that 3 months ago. Write it down. Keep a list somewhere.
Because on the hard days, the days when you feel like you've hit a wall again, you look at that list and you see the evidence.
Because our brains are very bad at remembering progress. They remember the mistakes and forget the wins.
Yes, you learn something and then immediately move to the next thing. You never stop to say, wow, I actually know that now.
But when you have a record, actual proof, it's much harder to convince yourself that nothing is working.
Look, here are 15 things I've learned this month. That's not nothing. That's a lot.
That's everything. And the third thing, the one I think makes the biggest difference long term,
Yes?
don't do this alone.
Oh, yes.
Find someone else who's on the same journey. A friend, an online community, a study partner, a comment section,
Like ours.
like ours. Because when you share the struggle, 2 really powerful things happen.
Tell me both.
First, you realize you're not the only one. And that sounds simple, but when you're alone with that feeling, it genuinely seems like everyone has figured it out except you.
And that feeling is a lie. That's the plateau talking. That's the inner critic talking.
And second, other people's energy carries you when yours runs low. Someone shares a small win, and something inside you thinks, okay, me too. I can do this too.
You don't have to get back on the horse alone. There are so many people going through the exact same thing at the exact same time as you.
and they're struggling in exactly the same ways, on exactly the same days.
Which is kind of beautiful, actually.
It really is.
And you know what? Sometimes just knowing that makes the hard days feel a little lighter. You stop thinking, what is wrong with me? And start thinking, okay, this is just the hard part.
Exactly. The hard part is not a sign you're failing. The hard part is the hard part. It's the same for everyone.
And the more you talk about it, with a friend or in a comment or even just out loud to yourself, the smaller it feels.
Language learning is not a solo sport. The people who stay with it the longest are almost always the ones who found their community early.
So, wherever you are on this journey, please don't carry it alone. There are people out there who will understand exactly what you're going through.
And one of those places is right here.
And I want to say one more thing, directly to anyone who's listening right now, and who has ever sent a message like the one Max read today.
Yeah,
The fact that you're here right now, listening to this in English, that is the work. That is showing up. That is not giving up on yourself.
and showing up, even when it's slow, even when it's hard, even when you can't see the progress.
That's what it actually looks like. That's what not giving up really means.
You are further along than you think. We truly believe that.
Okay, before we get to the Cafe Rewind, we want to hear from you.
Think about your English journey. Was there ever a moment when you almost gave up, but something kept you going?
Maybe it was a conversation that finally worked. Maybe a movie scene you suddenly understood. Maybe just one person who told you your English was getting better.
Whatever it was, tell us in the comments. We read every single one, and we mean that.
And honestly, your story might be exactly what someone else listening right now needs to hear today.
So don't keep it to yourself. Share it below.
Okay, time for the Cafe Rewind, where we go back through some of the best expressions from today's conversation.
These are real phrases that English speakers use in everyday life. And because you already heard them in context today, they should feel familiar.
After each one, we'll pause for a few seconds so you can repeat it out loud. Ready? Let's go.
Number 1, hit a wall.
To hit a wall means to suddenly stop making progress, even when you're still trying. Like you were moving forward and then, boom, wall.
Example, I was doing really well with my English, but last month I hit a wall. Nothing seemed to be working.
Number 2, give yourself a break.
To give yourself a break means to stop being so hard on yourself. To be a little kinder, a little more patient with yourself.
Example, you've been studying every single day for 2 months. Give yourself a break. You are doing great.
Number 3, all or nothing thinking.
All or nothing thinking is when you believe something has to be completely perfect or it's not worth doing at all. No middle ground.
Example, I missed 1 day of practice and wanted to quit. That's all or nothing thinking, and it's not helping me.
Number 4, invisible progress.
Invisible progress is improvement that is actually happening inside your brain, but you can't see it yet. It's real, even when it doesn't feel real.
Example, learning a language involves a lot of invisible progress. Your brain is building connections even when you don't notice.
Number 5, fall off track.
To fall off track means to stop following your plan or routine. To lose your momentum for a while.
Example, I fell off track with my English practice last month, but I'm starting again this week, and that's what matters.
Number 6, get back on the horse.
To get back on the horse means to try again after you've failed, stopped, or fallen off track. To not give up permanently.
Example, I didn't study for 2 weeks, but I got back on the horse, And now I actually feel more motivated than before.
Number 7. Be your own worst enemy.
To be your own worst enemy means that your own thoughts or actions are hurting your progress more than anything else. Not other people. You.
Example. When I keep telling myself I'm bad at English, I'm being my own worst enemy. I need to change that story.
And number 8, small wins.
Small wins are little achievements, moments of progress, that keep you motivated and moving forward, even when the big goal still feels far away.
Example. I focus on my small wins every day. Like, I understood a whole conversation today without asking anyone to repeat. That's a win.
8 expressions, all real, all natural, all yours.
Keep them. Use them. You've earned them. Okay, quick recap before we say goodbye today.
That stuck, frustrated feeling? It's normal. It's called the plateau, and it means you've actually moved past the beginner stage. You're growing.
All or nothing thinking will convince you that one hard day means total failure. It doesn't. Fall off track, get back on the horse. That's just part of the journey.
And the 3 things that actually help. Shrink the goal so it feels possible. Celebrate your small wins so you can see your progress. And find your people so you don't have to do it alone.
You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be fast. You just have to keep going.
Even slowly. Even on the imperfect days.
Even on the days when it feels like nothing is happening.
Because something is always happening, even when you can't see it yet.
And the fact that you listened to this whole episode in English, that tells us something important about you.
It tells us you're not giving up.
And that matters more than you know.
Thank you so much for being here today. It genuinely means a lot to us.
If this episode helped you, or if you know someone who needs to hear this right now, please share it with them. It might make a real difference.
And if you haven't subscribed yet, we would love to see you back here every week. Hit that subscribe button and become part of the Cafe family.
We'll be back soon with more real conversations, more real English, and, I promise, at least one more terrible joke from me.
I'm already looking forward to it.
Until next time, be kind to yourself. Keep going.
We'll see you at the cafe.
Thank you for listening. We hope today's conversation helped you understand real English better. Subscribe and join us for the next episode.